morning, everybody. I want to start today's devotion with a question. The question is, does God ever give you something to do that's far beyond your own ability? Think of it another way. Does he put you in situations where your abilities alone are not enough? Now, I can answer for me with a definitive absolutely yes. He does it all the time, as a matter of fact. He wants us to trust him. He wants us to know that it was for sure him. He wants to get the glory when we have worked through the situation, whatever it is. And these are what we would call defining moments, where we learn through a crisis of trust to trust him, to always keep his promises in front of us. Now, in Numbers 13 and 14, we are going to read about a crisis of trust for the children of Israel. Remember back in Genesis chapter 12, God gave Abraham 3 promises, Abraham and Sarah both. 3 promises. He says, I will be, number 1, I will be your God, you will be my people, and I will bless you. And the second one is, I will make you a great nation, and you will be a blessing to others. And the third one is I will give you a home, a land. And 2 out of the 3 had been answered in about an 800-year period, plus or minus a few years. But now Israel, it's been 2 years since Moses, through God's intervention, set the children of Israel free from Egypt. And they've been wandering in the desert for these 2 years. And so we're going to pick it up in Numbers chapter 13, verses 1, and we're going to read 1 and 2 and 18 through 20. It says, the Lord now said to Moses, send out men to explore the land of Canaan, the land I am giving to the Israelites. Send 1 leader from each of the 12 ancestral tribes. See what the land is like, and find out whether the people living there are strong or weak, few or many. See what kind of land they live in. Is it good or bad? Do they have towns or have walls, or are they unprotected like open camps? Is the soil fertile or poor? Are there many trees? Do your best to bring back some samples of the crops you see. It happened to be the season for harvesting of the first ripe grapes. So now 12 spies go out, and the 12 spies all return, and they reported that it was a beautiful land, and you'll recognize this phrase. They said it's a land flowing with milk and honey. It was really good. But 10 out of the 12 also added that there was a problem. Starting in verse 32, it says, the land we traveled through and explored will devour anyone who goes there to live. All the people we saw were huge. We even saw giants there, the descendants of Anak. Next to them, we felt like grasshoppers. Now, there were 10 that gave this report, and then 2, Joshua and Caleb, that saw the same land, the same people, and the very same circumstances. But listen to how they reported their conclusion in Numbers 14, verse 7. It says, the land we traveled through and explored is a wonderful land. And if the Lord is pleased with us, he will bring us safely into that land and give it to us. It is a rich land flowing with milk and honey. So I want to jump quickly to our own personal applications about this very same situation, this very same sort of thing. When you're faced with a seemingly impossible situation, where is your focus? Is it on the Lord's promises, or is it on the giants? As you view the future, do you see who is in the forefront of your vision? Is it God's promises in front, or are the challenging situations, the impossible situations right in front of you, so close that you can't even see God because you've blocked him out? I can think of so many crisis moments in my life, crisis of trust moments in my life, and where I was faced with the questions, just like you and I, just like you've been, I'm sure. Do I really believe in God, or do I just simply live in fear of the giants? Many years ago, I read a book called Experiencing God by Henry Blackaby. And Blackaby did a great job, I think, of describing moments like this. And he gave us four sort of principles, I think, that are help us understand it. He said, first of all, these kind of moments will always involve a task that is beyond your own personal ability. It's a God-sized problem. And the second principle is that they'll always require faith in God. It doesn't mean your stomach won't have butterflies, but faith and emotions are two different things. They will require, these kind of problems will require faith. And third, they'll require an action on your part. They'll require you to take a step, take a first step. And fourth, they'll also require us to adjust our personal plans to follow God's plan, because God's plan is always the best. You know, over the years, I think Blackaby really nailed it. Our lives are really one crisis after another, aren't they? In fact, they are sometimes several crises stacked on top of each other. The next step will always seem impossible. It just always works that way. But when God asks us to take a step in His direction and then trust Him for the rest. And we'll be able to see the ways that He brings us through these challenging situations in ways that we never expected or planned. And God's plan is always the best. Here's my prayer for you today, is that God will open your eyes to see Him in the forefront. Always Him in the forefront. And that with Him in the forefront, you'll realize, you and I will realize that no matter what it is, God has got a plan. God has got a way to work through this. Have an amazing day.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.